Hello and welcome to another video. Now, yeah, hello? Just 1 second. Yes, what is it? Yes. 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 Hello? Hello? Well, that was my hair calling, and apparently it's decided to leave me. Can't say I'm that bothered, really. So, first things first, in the words of Shaun of the Dead, we need to change the funking record. There we go, much better. Now, actually, the black and white may be a bit overboard, so abracadabra, alakazam, and yeah, I think that's much better, isn't it? Yeah. So this is a video a bit more serious than I'm used to making, considering it's kind of serious news that I'm imparting to you right now. And so it does deserve a kind of weight to it, considering it's kind of a big deal in a way. But then again, because I can't really take anything that seriously, I can't really present it in a totally dead serious tone, because it's not my sort of thing that I can do, you know? So, how am I going to do this? I guess I should just tell you. On Wednesday, just gone, so for me that's 2 days ago, went to the doctors, and long story short, I've been diagnosed with moderate to severe depression. So that's now a thing. I went to see the doctor for 2 different things in that appointment, and the suspicion that I had about the whole depression thing was secondary, because, like, I've never thought that I really had it. I didn't want to think that I really did have it. I didn't want to be like a hypochondriac, just thinking that just because that I feel sad about something that immediately thinks depression, or if there's like I have something else wrong with me, it's immediately cancer, or so just like jumping to conclusions, the worst possible situation outcome type thing. And you know, I didn't want it to be like that. So I've put off the suspicion for a long time, just because I didn't think that I had any reason to feel depression in any kind of way, but I've had the suspicion for quite a long time, and I'll get to that in a minute. And so I spoke to the doctor about the depression suspicion thing, and he gave me this form that you have to fill out and provide certain details about certain things, and at the end, the last page is 3 pages, and the last page has like this grid, and you tick a bunch of boxes, and then he adds up this score board that he has, and adds up a score out of 30, and then that determines on what scale of the spectrum of depression you are on. And he told me what it was, and then it was moderate to severe depression, and that's what's happened with that. He also prescribed me these pills, these lustral drugs, however you pronounce them, and I have to take one of them a day for I don't know how long, and I have to go back every week for checkups now that this is something that's being determined. Now, if you've known me for like a long period of time, I imagine that this might not be that much of a surprise to you, and that's might be kind of terrible to say, but then again I would understand if you would think that, because I would think that for myself, and I have thought that about myself, because I've had this suspicion for quite a long time. I mean, for one thing, depression runs in my family. My mum had it, and her father had it, and her father's father had it, and so it goes on. And for another thing, I've got quite a few friends who have talked about how they have had depression and the symptoms that they've had with it and how they dealt with it. And I've seen the things that these friends of mine have said about depression and the things that indicate it, and I've always kept seeing things that hit home with me that seemed very familiar, but then I would then go back to thinking, no, you can't possibly have it, you're being hypochondriacal again. I'm not sure if that's even a real word, but then again, when do I even care about if words are real or not? Point is, though, is that I had the suspicion, and then, like, last year I saw the video that TomSka did where he talked about how he had been diagnosed with depression and how he had filled in a form and they determined what level he was at, and he was being given pills, and he was like, if you think you might have it, you should go to a doctor, and all these things played in my mind. And not just these things all coming together in my mind, but also up until my diagnosis the other day, for years I've had this thing playing on my mind ever since Britain in a Day, the thing that I was in, was shown on BBC Two. And I sent in my clips to that film, and I didn't know how it was going to wind up in the final cut, because I didn't see it until it was actually shown on BBC Two live on air. And the place that I'm in the film, they show this shot here. Now that particular shot there appeared in a very specific portion of the film, and that particular portion was regarding people who had, well, it started off the portion with a woman who had agoraphobia, and she was taking pills in order to be able to go outside, and she discussed how in the past she had tried to commit suicide, and how she was taking these pills, and she had to take these pills in order to be able to lead a better life and live it. And then it cut to another woman who was showing scars that she had on her arms and wrists from attempts from when she had tried to, commit suicide. And then after them two, it cut to me and that particular shot you just saw. And when I saw that, it kind of played in my mind over and over again, and I just, I couldn't help thinking, ever since I saw it, I couldn't help thinking, have they seen something in me that I didn't see in myself? Have they seen that I am depressed if they've lumped me in with that particular section of the film? And it kept playing my mind over and over again, but I kept pushing it as far back into my mind as I possibly could, because it didn't bear thinking about. I didn't want to think about it, and I had other things to think about, and all the things, But, really, it's probably not a surprise at all to people who know me via the internet, because, I have this video from when I did VEDA last year, and I talked about having a down day where I didn't feel any emotions, and I didn't want to do anything, and I couldn't feel any energy to do anything, I just felt completely empty. And then I have these things that I've written on hit record where I say things like, I worry that I'm not like other people. I worry that other people feel things more deeply than I do. I worry that other people understand things more deeply than I do. I worry that everything I think I feel is all an elaborate act, a pretense of enthusiasm, a performance to deflect passivity. I worry that I'm really only glancing along the surface of the river that is life. I worry that this distances me from other people. I worry that this only applies to me. I worry that this will not end well. I worry. Or other such life-affirming and heart-warming pieces such as, I want to not think. I want to not wake up to my brain shouting a million different things at once. I want to not feel the hollow dark in the pit of my stomach that drags me down to its depths. I want to not exist and just have my problems swallow me whole. I want to not be remembered or missed, and to have no trace of me left behind. So, I'm all about the happy. So yeah, it's not been easy getting to the point of thinking you really need to go and check and see if you have something wrong with you. Because, I've been in a vast majority of hospitals for the vast majority of my life, because my mum has had so many things wrong with her, and so I've had to go to the hospital with her and, go to the appointments that she's had, as well as for myself for other medical problems that I've had in the past, where I've had to go and do things like I had to drop out of art whenever I was doing that for my GCSE in secondary school. I had to drop out of art in order to be able to do physiotherapy, or more specifically hydrotherapy, because I had and still do have, certain ailments to do with my body. And so I've been in a ton of hospitals, and I don't particularly like them because, well, I've been in them so much, and they're not, really fun places to be. And just doctors in general. I mean, I didn't go to a hospital to get it diagnosed. I went to just the local doctors down the road to see a GP. And, you know, still, that's something that I've experienced a lot and had to do a lot in my life. And I don't do it, like, willingly. I don't spend a lot of my time wanting to do it, which is another reason why I put off this suspicion and kept it in the back of my head for so long. Because, like, I didn't want to seem as though I was someone who goes to doctors and stuff to try and get attention for things that aren't wrong with me. Because it's just, I don't know, it's very weird talking like this to you in this somewhat serious manner and revealing, you know, part of my head that normally I wouldn't divulge, you know, this readily. But I figured that this is a big thing, that it's like it's a life-altering thing, and just as a piece of information in and of itself. And, you know, I figured that I should mention it. It's something that is noteworthy about me, and explains a lot about all the extremely miserablest stuff that I've made in the past. I don't know how long I have been depressed for. I could not tell you how long I've been, like, literally medically certifiably depressed. Because the doctor, he literally said to me that depression can either come from having a chemical imbalance in the brain, or it can just come from shit life syndrome. Yeah, he actually said that to me. And that's true, and I've had shit life syndrome, to be sure, but apparently it's also now led to the proper something is defective in my head. I'm not even sure if defective is the right word. Like, as I've been recording all this, I keep saying words that I think might be offensive to other people who have depression and are suffering with it. And, you know, I'm really new to all of this, you know. And when I mentioned it online, on the day that I was told that I had it, the outpouring of support was just wow, basically. Just loads of people saying, you know, if you need to talk to me, just feel free to talk to me, and offer me advice of medications to take and all the different types that there are, and just loads of good stuff. And the support has been just great. I'm so bad at this. I don't know, that's just basically it, is that I have moderate to severe depression. That's just something that's I have now. I'm taking medication for it. I had a haircut, you know, like small steps to like self-betterment, I guess, if that makes any sense. Just trying to make myself a better person and try to, you know, not be completely and utterly consumed by all of my neuroses and whatever else, and just try and live life better in some way or another. I don't know. It's, like I said, I'm really new to all of this, and to this format of talking with you, and to the whole diagnosis, and to people introducing me to like the world of it and all the different facets of it. And it's been a heavy couple of days basically, and I'm learning, and you know, I don't know, this is just me now completely stumped for words, because I just really don't know what else to say. Just, I don't know. That's basically it. Okay. Oh yeah, one more thing before we go. As I said, I mentioned that on the day that I was diagnosed, I mentioned that I had it, and then someone else who says that they have the same thing that I have, said, same here. And then I said, maybe all of us depressed people should club together and make a band that plays nothing but old school electro 80s music, and we should call ourselves Depressed Mode. You like that? You like that? You like that studio audience that I added in post? Good, good. Just because I have depression doesn't mean that my puns are going to stop. Yes. So, yeah. That's basically it. So, thanks for watching, and bye. Ooh, nearly forgot to mention, you know that test I mentioned before? You know, the one that determines your level of depression based on the score out of 30, based on the boxes you ticked on the last page of the test, right? Now, keep that in mind. Now, as some of you may remember, and for those of you who are not familiar with me, you're about to be familiar with the thing as I tell it to you now, I used to have quite a big obsession with the number 23, thanks to the film The Number 23, starring Jim Carrey. Hey, that rhymed. And, yeah, that was back in 2007 when the film came out, and, I got obsessed with it because it happened to, the 23 thing appeared quite profusely throughout certain facets of my life. Like, I live in a house, the number 23, and a bunch of other things, and it permeated through many things, and the obsession has died down quite considerably in recent years, right? Now, keeping that in mind, well, can you take a wild guess as to what my score out of 30 on the depression test was? Yeah. My life, ladies and gentlemen, my life.